Are you somebody that's looking to get into investing or starting an international company and you want to hear from somebody that has already done it before you? Well, you're in luck because today I'm interviewing Adam Kamani. He owns multiple international companies. He's hugely successful, so is his whole family, and he's sharing all of his knowledge today around investing and starting an international company. So if this is something you would like to hear about, make sure you stay tuned. But before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you get weekly notifications as to when I put out new videos and content. I'm going to be sharing everything to do with mindset, personal development, confidence, overcoming overwhelm, everything to do with you just becoming a better person and a more confident person inside in general. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell. Now let's dive in. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Millennial Business Podcast. I am Taylor, your host, and today I am joined here with the amazing Adam Kamani. He's done some super epic stuff. I was so excited to have the opportunity to interview him on the podcast today. Adam, thank you for joining me on the show today.
No, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to talking to you and giving you some insight into my life and where I'm up to today, and more importantly, giving some advice to the listeners.
Amazing. I want to take us back to the start though, of Pretty Little Things in terms of starting a successful, because that's a hugely successful brand. Like, I'm from Australia. I know very well about Pretty Little Thing. I have purchased from there. I also know you were involved and worked on boohoo.com, which is also super cool. With starting a company from scratch like that, an e-commerce company, what would you say to someone who wants to start a brand like that in terms of building the brand? Because that's something that I see is super important with Pretty Little Thing, is the brand that you built around it is one of the reasons why it did so well. Anyone can sell little things online, right? But you obviously had that little bit of extra something and you built it up to be an amazing world-renowned brand. So talk us through what sort of things have to happen for that to take place.
But in terms of my first 3 years while I was there, in terms of that experience, I guess it's kind of just having a focus and kind of like understanding what the customer wants and kind of trying to tailor, not really like tailor yourself, but you've got to really, if you don't understand your customer and what they're asking for, then you're fighting a losing battle all the time. So you've really got to try to understand that and understand them and what they want. And then secondly is creating that trust and creating that lifestyle in terms of like we're a brand, like you can buy things off us, but you can also buy an outfit from us. You can do this with us, you can do that with us, and you've really got to trust and listen to the customers because they're so important to how your business is. I think the biggest problem a lot of people have is they do really well and then they stop listening to the customers because they think they know the answers, and at that point they start having issues.
Gotcha. And what's one way you guys would listen to your customers? Would it just be through social media, or were you doing surveys, or what was the biggest way that you were able to listen to your customers the best?
Well, it's also listen, you be reactive to what's going on in the market. You see, I don't know, you see a celebrity wearing something and you're going to be reactive and think, okay, that's what everyone wants. So that's one way of listening to it without directly speaking to them. The second point is obviously on social, like getting feedback of people. Like obviously at the early days it was really small, so it was kind of just like your friends telling you stuff, or the customers like doing like a survey with them, whatever it is. And it's just really making them attached to the brand and kind of understanding, okay, we're listening to you. How can we make this better?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess helping the customer to feel like they're a part of the brand and they're helping to create it to be what it is today.
That's from my first 3 years of being there. Like since then, so much has changed. My brother grew into hundreds and hundreds of people. So that's evolved again and keeps evolving. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, cool. And you said next, after you were working on that, you went to New York, and you were working in New York for about 2 years. Tell me what it was like working in New York, because that has been a dream of mine. I went to visit New York one time and it's just like,
I'm actually going there next week. So I'm looking forward to going back.
Oh my God. It's so crazy. It's like when people say it's the city that never sleeps, it actually is the city that never sleeps. How was it working there for a couple of years?
It's in many ways it opens your eyes up. In many ways it makes you appreciate home. It's got the good and bad like everywhere. But it's just, it really does open your eyes and think, wow, like where I live is such a small place. There's so much out there. But what I did realise from New York, and obviously started doing property while I was out there, it's dog eat dog in New York. Like no one's your friend. Obviously you make friends and whatever, but when it comes to work, like everyone's just like go. Everyone's out for themselves. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter what it is. Everyone just, so you really gotta be tough, and it makes you understand very quickly. You've got to toughen up there. If you want to survive in New York, you gotta be tough, and you gotta be the same as everyone else, but you just got to make sure you're sharp and you're smart with it.
Yeah, sort of that cutthroat mentality, I guess.
Yeah, you see all these people walking around the streets with their briefcases, like marching down the street, and you're like, bloody hell, like what's going on there? And then I just start seeing people on a day-to-day basis. You're like, wow, like these people, no flies on them. It's like whatever they need to get done, they will get done, even if it means like schmoozing you, saying all the right things to you. And I learned that very quickly when I was in New York, and that was a real lesson to learn for me being there. Yeah,
I can imagine it would be very, very great experience and really help you to sort of, if you weren't confident in yourself before moving to New York, I feel like you would learn that very quickly.
What you got to do in New York is you've got to really embrace it, and think, when you get there, it's like, okay, it's New York. Like New York had this aura about it, and like, wow, I'm here. And you kind of pinch yourself like, holy crap, I'm living in New York.
I know.
But then you've got to understand like the not so good stuff with it. And the sooner you understand what New York is about, and the sooner you accept that, it's the same with anywhere you live. It's not just New York. But the sooner you accept where you are and the people you're dealing with, the sooner you'll settle in, and sooner you can kind of adjust to life. Because if you just think it's just going to be one big holiday, which I guess it's kind of like being on holiday, but if you just think it's going to be like that all the time and everyone's going to be nice and you whatever, then you're just going to be let down. So you've really got to grasp what it is about, wherever you are.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned that it was when you were in New York that you really decided to, I guess, put your foot down and get involved in the real estate industry and investing and all of that sort of stuff. Was there a defining moment that really made you think, okay, I'm going to do it now? Because you had more so been in the fashion before and now you were thinking of moving into investing and property, or was it just more so a gradual thing?
Well, I guess it was a case of like, obviously I was quite well travelled when I was younger, so I was always fascinated with like the hotels we go to or the buildings in different cities I was at, and New York was just another one of those places, I guess. And when I was there, like, it was just like the skyline's incredible as it is. I was there and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and see some properties while I'm here. Like, I'm just fascinated to be nosy, to go and see an apartment or whatever. And I'm not lying, I must have made about 200 viewings with all different agents. Like, even if there was properties I didn't want to see, or just to kind of pick their brains about the area and the neighbourhood and what's going on. Even if it was a property I didn't really like, I just wanted to pick someone's brains and understand it. And the more I started picking people's brains, the more I started getting roped into it. And like, oh my God, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. This is definitely what I want to do. It kind of confirmed what I had always wanted to do. And at that point, I was like, wow, like, I think, I wouldn't say there was maybe there was a trigger point, but at that point when I've just been really looking at all the properties and stuff, I was like, okay, I can see myself doing this. I've got so heavily involved, like doing this, like reading, research, staying up to 2 a.m, reading stuff online, because the market's so different. The market's so different in America than it is to the UK, and especially New York being a super city, that's just another world of its own. And I was like, okay, I really need to understand this. If I want to buy a property here, what do I need to do? Like, I need to make sure I don't fuck this up. I've got to make sure if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the best person that can do this.
Yeah.
So just really, even when I didn't want to see a property and I didn't want to meet an agent, I would do it just so I can pick their brains and understand what's going on with the transport links, the neighbourhood, the unemployment, the property prices, the rental value. So I would do a lot of unnecessary viewing, but it wasn't really unnecessary. It was very valuable to kind of piece it all together.
Yeah, totally. I definitely don't think that's unnecessary. I think it's smart that gives you a competitive advantage over anyone else who's starting out in the industry, because you have hours and hours of built up knowledge that you already know in your head over these people who are just starting out, they potentially might not know. Now, for people who might already have a business like you had and maybe want to start looking into investing or looking into the property market, what would be some advice that you could give to them?
They're looking to buy a property or looking to what?
If they're looking to start investing in property?
My advice would just know it inside out. Like, property is local, whatever it is. If it's like, wherever you're buying it, it's local. So you got to understand the neighborhood, the people live there, the unemployment, the transport links to schools, all those kind of things. And I would say, like, don't just buy something because an agent's saying buy it. Like, to flip, for example, or you're buying it to rent. And then as soon as you identify what you're doing and how much you've got, like, really home in on an area you want to buy in and read about it, understand it. Like, make viewings, yes, understand, read stuff online. Like, really make sure you know the neighborhood of where you're buying, because you don't know if that neighborhood's got a bad crime rate. Like, you just think, oh, it's a great price. If it's got a bad reputation and you don't really know that, then you're gonna. It's not so much of a great property because you're going to struggle to sell it maybe another time and you might struggle to rent it. So I think sometimes with property always is just know what you're dealing with and know where the property is and make sure you know all the answers to that property.
Yeah, awesome. I think my audience is, a lot of them are just sort of starting out, potentially their first business, or they're quite young and new on their business journey. So it's potentially something that they're not doing yet, but super interested in. I know I definitely want to start building up a property portfolio. I'd love to get a villa here in Bali, Indonesia, and then potentially one back in Australia. So it's great to hear that sort of, I never would have thought to look up like the crime rate of an area or anything like that before you're buying property, but it makes so much sense.
What, like, the local planners are saying about in terms of what's being built up around the area, is that any new things coming to the area, is that are they stopping transport, are they putting money into more car parking, are they building more resi? Like, all these things are big factors in terms of what the area and where it shapes up to be.
Yeah, definitely. And so now your company that you've built up with your property portfolio, do you want to share a little bit about that, how it's going, what you're doing with that, anything exciting?
So the company is Kamani Property Group, and I also got the investment side, but I'll speak about that later if you want.
Yep.
But in terms of the property side, so we have a portfolio mix of development, residential, commercial, industrial. And what I did when I came back to the UK, obviously my family had like a little pot on the side that they had property-wise, but no one was really dealing with it because everyone was dealing with the fashion, and that was kind of taking charge, kind of left as a back burner. No one was really dealing with it. So obviously being in New York, had this passion, and then I came back and I was like, okay, the first thing I did was look at all the stock we had, and I said, okay, there's dead stock there, dead stock there, dead stock here. Okay, how can we maximize what we have? Instead of going out, it's easy to go out and buy a building or easy to go out to buy an apartment, but really look at your own stuff before you start spending money on other stuff. So I thought, how can we maximize our own stuff? So we started applying for planning and stuff like that. And I've done it for 3 years now, and the growth of the company has just been incredible. We started off as a team of 4, now we have a team of 26.
Wow.
That's just in 3 years, and that will continue to grow over the next couple of months as well. And yeah, I think how we kind of shaped the group now is like everyone in Manchester knows who Kamani Property are. Like anyone in the property industry, they all know who we are. Like if you speak to an agent or something and saying Kamani Property, they all know it. And I think we've done a really incredible job of like making sure we've never developed before. We're not developers. All of a sudden this year we've got 7 developments on, building like 3 office buildings, 2 residential buildings.
Wow.
Doing another one in down south in London as well. So really focused on what makes us special and how we do that. So it's been a great journey and it's been a great learning curve. It's not always been hunky-dory and where it's like that.
Yeah.
There's times where it's like this, but that's when you learn the most about yourself and the business.
Yeah, totally. In regards to your team, you said you took it from 4 to 26 in a matter of 4 years. 3 years, sorry. How do you go about building a team that quickly and ensuring that you maintain that really super high level of reputation, I guess, because you said that everyone knows about your company. How do you make sure that everyone meets that standard?
So what I look for employing personality over skill.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got some skill about you. Because what I think is like we spend so much time in the office. We spend 8-10 hours days in the office, more than you do at home with your own family or your partners. I think when it comes to the office, you want to be in a group. You want to be surrounded by people that are fun, got good energy, like likable. You don't want anyone with an ego. So what I do, I say, as long as you've got some knowledge, I'd rather employ you over personality because you can teach skill. you can't teach personality. Personality is what's embedded in them. So I rather take the personality and teach them the skill afterwards, as long as I've got some sort of base knowledge. And that's how I kind of built my foundations. And we've got a great team here. It's a really close knit family.
Beautiful.
Like, it's not, if someone makes a bad mistake, we don't point the finger. It's like, okay, how can we all work that out? How can we all help? And yeah, so it's great. It's just kind of like instilling that mentality into all the team and saying, okay, this is our mentality. We're all in this together. If someone makes a mistake, we all go down. If someone wins, we all win. And I think that's really rubbed off onto the team. And like I get feedback from people that my team meet, and the attitude and the feedback I get is so positive. Like, oh, like they love that. They're so passionate about this. So it's nice to hear. Like, we're all rubbing off on each other.
Amazing. That's super good. I know, like, I have worked at a company before where the team environment the team was good before, and then we got a new manager, and he didn't have a team mentality. It was very much, he was just trying to show off to the managers above him, and he just absolutely killed the team, the whole vibe for the store, and everyone just started resigning because everyone hated going to work. Like, it was not an enjoyable place to work anymore.
Because it's better to have a hole in your business than an arsehole, and it's so true.
Yeah, it's so true. And everyone just started resigning, and then he had no staff left, and I was like, well, sorry, but that's what happens when, like, we couldn't even talk. We weren't allowed to talk.
And then it's real facts, and people that probably go into a first job and have that experience will probably think that's normal, and it's not normal. It's like, you don't get treated like a piece of shit. You get treated with the same respect as everyone else. Everyone in this business gets treated with the same respect, whether you're the cleaner or the manager. It doesn't matter. We all have the same respect for each other.
I love that. That's amazing. Because at the end of the day, everyone's human. Like, we're all humans. Everyone deserves to be treated equally. Just because you have different titles doesn't mean you deserve to be treated better.
Titles are full of shit, really.
Yes, I agree with that. Cool. And I would love to move into a little bit more of the investing side of your company now. So do you want to tell me a little bit about that and what's going on there?
Obviously, so maybe it was about 2 years ago, we realised there's a pool of young talent out there that are always either on Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever it may be, or email, would always ask us for advice, or what do you think of this business? What do you think of that business? And it's kind of like, I was actually on a flight to Italy at one point with my father, who's the founder of Boohoo.com. And we had this light bulb moment on the plane, actually, and we're like, we've got all these people wanting our help. Like, why don't we put this into some good use? So at that point, literally, by the time the flight was only 2 hours, by the time we landed, we had it all worked out, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, blah, 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 blah. And then the next week we set up the fund, and we set up a website. We came up with a name, KM Capital. And now up to date, we've invested in 17 startup companies, all looking for advice or mentor and a bit of cash injection, obviously, as well. And it's been a great experience. Like, you see people come to your table with presenting this idea and speak so passionately because they really want the money, they really believe in the idea. And sometimes it's so hard to say, sorry, it's not for me. Then other times, it's like, wow, why didn't you think? Shit, why didn't I think of this idea? Like, it's such a idea, so good. Like, why didn't I think? So it's great. Every day you meet all these new people with all these great ideas, and it's really interesting. It's really, really fun. There's so much great talent out there.
That's cool. What are some of your favorite investments that you guys have made in companies that you've backed that are really super sort of, or like quirky ideas?
We've invested in a babysitting app called Bubble. We've invested in a condom brand with a vegan condom. Some social media businesses. We've invested in a floating hotel in London called the Boathouse, which is really, it's a really cool space. Like, if you're in London, you should check that out. Lots of PropCo companies. It's a real diverse portfolio of stuff. But everyone in their own right, we see potential, and we think, okay, we could probably help them. We could open a lot of channels up for them. It's absolutely great.
Awesome. And so if there is a millennial listening that is wanting to potentially get some funding or propose an idea to investors, is there anything that helps people to get that little bit of edge over somebody else, or is it just purely based off the idea? Or give me some insight into your side of things.
I speak to a lot of investment people, a lot of people that invest, and it's kind of, you hear the same feedback over and over again. And everyone's like, okay, sometimes you see a great business, but you see the wrong person running it behind it. That's
Mm-hmm.
so that's an issue. Then other people you see a great person, but the business isn't so great. And you think, oh, like, only if. So I think really what I would say to anyone that's starting out is like, if you're going to go into a business and you want to set up your own, you want to get investment from someone, really know the ins and outs of your numbers of your business, the facts, the competitors, why you stand out, what's your identity. Like really home in and know everything about that business, because I guarantee you, if there's one thing you've not covered, when you go into that meeting asking for that money of someone else's, they're going to ask you the question you don't know the answer to. So really know your stuff and make sure you know it better than the next person that's coming into the room. Because if you go into a meeting and I ask you a question saying, oh, what was your turnover last year? And you give me a number, say £300,000. I say, okay, was that online, offline? Like, well, how was that split? And you don't know the answer. It's like, okay, if you don't know the details of something so simple as that, what are you going to be like as a CEO with my money, running a business? Like, you're not going to be into detail of like really knowing the facts of your business, because you can't really, unless you know all the facts, you can't make a call on it. You're going to make the wrong call with the wrong information. So always know your information, know the ins and outs of it, like know the numbers, know the details, know what works, and also you've got to be able to listen and take criticism on.
Definitely. Have you had any companies that you've invested in and then they have not gone so well and just turned around and be like, oh, sorry, we spent all your money and now it's not working?
We're quite careful in terms of how we drop the money in terms of like, okay, we're going to invest 100,000, well, drop the 100,000 in, but we will monitor that. We will have weekly calls with them saying, okay, what's being done where. And it's not that we're trying to suffocate anyone. We want them to run their business. We just want to make sure, like, if they're going to go and get some stuff printed, like, we probably know a lot of people that can do that stuff as well, so for cheaper. So like, let's get more out of the money than what you're getting out of it. And let's open the doors to certain people that where we can make everything more cost effective, so you get more out of your money, really.
Amazing.
No, it's touch wood.
Cool. And yeah, I guess that's as well. You said you had a lot of people already asking you for advice and mentorship, I guess, and that would really help, especially young people wanting to start a business, because they might have the knowledge, but they don't necessarily have the experience. I was listening to a podcast episode today with Ty Lopez, and he was saying all of these young people are coming out of university and they probably have more knowledge than the billionaires that are currently already billionaires had when they came out of university. But what they're lacking is the experience and the know-how. So if they can get some of that from you guys with these weekly calls, or just have somebody to ask questions or get a bit of guidance from, I think that's so valuable these days, because as you were saying about New York, it's a dog-eat-dog world. I feel like it's that sort of similar mentality in the tech sort of startup industry. Would you say that that's correct?
It's hard because in the startup world, there's so many startups out there and so many fail within the first 2 years. Because I think what happens, people get excited, see a bit of momentum, and when they get to that point, they think, oh, I can do this now. And that's where the whole business flops. So it's really challenging. You've really got to get that balance right. And really, I think you just got to really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I guess like you've really just got to embrace everything that comes at you. Like always pick people's brains, like listen to it. Like don't take everything, take everything with a pinch of salt, because like, I guess like if someone's doing a social media business and you've got the next person doing a social media business, who's going to be better at it and why are you going to be better at it? And I think you've really got to make sure you stand out and not give a load of bullshit to anyone. You've got to be really honest with yourself. Like, okay, is this a real business that can do well? So I think you've really just you've got to network the heck out of people, really make sure you're mingling with the right crowd, like obviously have your friends and whatever, but you really, I think like if you just think, okay, 9 to 5, I'm going to go to work and that's it. And you've got the next person who's in the same industry as you do 9 to 10, like don't be surprised if they do better than you, because they're spending the extra 5 hours trying to get in touch with new clients, new businesses, meeting people. Like, don't cry. Like, you've got to be real with yourself. We all live on this social media life on Instagram and everything. It's a make-believe world. And I think everyone thinks everything's perfect and everyone has these great lives. We all have our faults. We all have our flaws. That Instagram isn't real life. Instagram is a make-believe life. And I'm so passionate about sharing. Like, well, I'm guilty of it as well. Like, we only put the best things on social media. We don't we don't say, oh, like, I've got weight issues or I've got like personal issues or whatever it is, which is real everyday life, which everyone has. Like, if we all shared that, then everyone would understand that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you've got to put, what you put in is what you're going to get out of it. If you don't put the effort in, you're not going to get it. And don't be surprised, and don't get upset with the results you get if you not put the effort in.
Totally, 100%. And I so agree with even just the part that you were talking about, the network, with your network. Moving here to Bali compared to me living in Canberra in Australia, the caliber of people that I'm surrounded by now, and the amount of like-minded people that I'm surrounded by compared to in Australia, where I'm from, there's a lot of people who work in the public service and are very happy to just sort of sit behind their desk and do what they're told by the government all the time. And that's just totally not my vibe. And moving here, surrounding myself with those sorts of people, it just has opened up my mind to a whole new world of ideas and opportunities that I didn't even know existed before. And I never would have even thought of these things by myself living in Canberra, because I wasn't surrounded by that same group of people. And it's amazing to also be surrounded by a group of people that realize that, okay, yes, there's going to be some days where you maybe work 4 hours and then go to the beach in the afternoon, but there's other days that you work 13 hours because you're about to launch something, and maybe you're here till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but you just got to do what you got to do to get it done.
Have a nice time, enjoy what you do, but like, don't expect the result if you're not going to put a shift in, basically.
Yeah.
You've got to put it in and make sure like you've gone the extra mile.
Yeah, totally. I think people who complain but aren't willing to put in the work, they really frustrate me a little bit. Yeah. I'm like, just do something about it. If you're complaining, do something to change it.
I can't. Like, if you work 9 till 5 or 9 till 6, yeah?
Yeah.
Every day, that's your work, and then you sit at home watching Netflix or whatever it may be, a movie or whatever. There's still 62 hours of your week after work. Like, those 62 hours, everyone says I can't. You've got 62 hours before you probably go to bed to do something with your life. Go to the gym, read a book, like, totally. I don't know, a networking event. Like, everyone just cuts it off. Like, you've got to, like, either don't do it or do it. Like, it's your call, it's your life. You can moan to everyone. You're living that life, so if you're not happy with it, it's only you that can make the difference. Like, I'm fed up with your excuses all the time.
I totally agree.
I was one of those people that made excuses sometimes. And we all have our moments where we make excuses, but I can moan to my friend about a day I've had. But ultimately, it's my day. It's only me that can change that. Like, they can maybe help me and advise me, saying, oh, you should do this or do that. Like, if I don't, then it's only me that suffers, and I'll moan the next day the same thing, and it's just become that I become a scratch CD, then I become a broken record.
Totally. It's all a mindset shift as well. Like, you can, the worst things can be happening to you, and if you choose to have a positive outlook on it, you might have crashed your car or whatever, then you could say, well, shit, I'm so grateful that I had a car to crash. Yeah. Like, and that completely shifts your mindset, and it shifts the whole situation. And then you're able to look at everything in a more positive light, and then you can change that. And that's how you change your life. That's how I started my business. I was working 9 to 5. I would wake up early in the mornings, go to the gym in the morning, then get back, work on my business, get home, work on my business till I went to sleep. And now I'm living my dream life here in Bali. So it's like totally possible, but people have to actually just put in the work.
Mindset and doing something with your life instead of just accepting society wants you to be this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a great example.
Thank you. Awesome. So Adam, is there if there was one last thing that you could say to the audience before we finish the podcast off, what would it be?
My advice would be is don't get caught up in the bullshit of social media, of this make-believe world. What people put out there and what we see isn't real. Like, we all have issues, we all have our good days, we have our bad days. Like, do your thing and make sure that when you go for a job interview, whatever it makes be, like, you get remembered and they remember you for what you are. Like, make sure you stand out from the crowd. Your personality, be bright self. Like, never let we can have bad days and it can get us down for a few hours. Don't let it eat away at you. You go into that meeting right now. If you've got a meeting today and you know you've got a job, your job depending on it, you go in there and you absolutely smash it and make sure people remember you. And you make sure you stand out from the crowd like no one can believe it. Because I tell you what, that'll make a massive difference. And if you have that outlook and that attitude in life, you'll get very, very far.
I love that.
I hope that's good advice.
Yes, it was amazing. Thank you. Where can people find you online? Where can people find you?
So my Instagram is Adam Kamani, and on there is all the business pages I have, the Kamani Property, KM Capital and stuff like that. But yeah, if any of your followers want to get in touch and ask for advice, like message me on Instagram and I'll try and get through them. And I promise I'll have a read and get back to you when I get the chance. But
Amazing.
Thank you for having me. And I hope you enjoyed the chat.
Yes, it was great. Thank you. You heard that, guys. Slide on into Adam's DMs, shoot him a message. And if you're interested in investing or property or getting any advice or anything like that. So if you found today's episode super valuable and you loved listening to what Adam had to share about his experience and what he has done with business and investing, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that I know that you really enjoyed it and you found a lot of value. And if you feel like there's something that I could potentially support you with, or you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is coachtaylorvictoria@gmail.com. So please feel free to shoot me an email if there's anything that I can support you with or you have any questions. And until the next episode, bye!